Welcome to another episode of the Eudaimonia Live show. And today we have with us Ekatherina Kazancheva to discuss about living your why and aligning your career with your values. Who is more relevant to be here than Ekatherina? Welcome.
Thank you so much, Christina. Happy to be here.
Okay, so a little bit while everyone is looking to find the link, perhaps to join in. So I am Christina Garidi. I'm the founder of Eudaimonia Coaching, and I have founded Eudaimonia on a mission to propel people to authentically live their lives, but also to flourish. And I coach ambitious professionals to decode their purpose and align their career with fulfillment. And I introduced the Eudaimonia success model back in 2018 globally as a TEDx speaker. And I am the host, of course, of Eudaimonia Live Show, who will be joining us today. And I showcase brilliant people who sprinkle a bit of eudaimonia into our lives. And what on earth is eudaimonia? Well, eudaimonia, for those of you who are joining us for the first time and don't know, is an ancient Greek paradigm for well-being, and it means human flourishing in open translation. Literally, it has been forgotten for over 2 millennia and only mentioned in philosophy courses. So this needs to change. And here we are with Ekaterina, and who is our guest today? So, who is our guest today? I have the honor to present our guest, Ekaterina Kazancheva, who is a founder, angel investor, advisor, and chief operating officer of an innovative wellness center launching in Switzerland. And she will tell us a little bit more about it in a moment. With over 8 years in finance and 5 years in impact investing, she has supported entrepreneurs in emerging markets and championed female founders. Her passion for unlocking potential led her to create a global coaching practice and pivot from her career in finance to helping high achievers overcome limiting beliefs and thrive in business and in life. Through her work, she empowers others to prioritize their well being. So, how relevant is that for us today? And achieve clarity and create a meaningful impact. Welcome, Ekaterina.
Thank you, Christina. It's a pleasure, really.
Thank you. So we're connecting with Geneva, which is excellent news. And Ekaterina, you have been nurturing since we chatted a few months ago the journeys of entrepreneurs and female founders for the last 13 years from different positions within the ecosystem. And you are here with us to share with us how you will continue empowering them from a different part of that ecosystem that you will describe to us. And um, what's striking, and as a career purpose coach, of course, was the ease with which you have incorporated your skills, your background, your experience, and really transformed it and channeled it towards your new role and how you will continue on your mission without depleting from it because you have to leave perhaps, position or a theoretical industry, but actually the growth you have created for yourself to bring all of that with you towards your career, may I say, um, but also without leaving outside the holistic nature of health, of our health, because that's one of the things that you seem to have noticed more and more while working with amazing, ambitious entrepreneurs around the world, that our health is not just physical, it's financial, it's mental, it's emotional, and of course, spiritual. So, what brought you here today, where you are today? Of course, through this transition, but even before then, how did this all come to here?
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Christina, and hello to everyone joining. I'm Ekaterina, and as Christina beautifully introduced me, it's been a journey, as it is for so many of us, and it feels like it's a big transition phase right now for a lot of people. But to make a long story short about myself, around, I would say almost 10 years ago, I started in traditional finance, doing value investing at a boutique asset management firm, and that was back in Canada. And while I was really inspired by finance and the potential behind businesses and the entrepreneurs and management team running them, I found that traditional finance lacked this impactful direction that was needed in the world. And as a young person wanting to, of course, make a difference and change the world, I went out seeking, finding new opportunities, and finding a way that I could contribute. So fast forward a couple of years in traditional finance, and I decided to finally leave, tried a few different things, and ended up in Geneva after multiple moves around the world, both to Spain, California, Italy. But I ended up here, and I'm lucky I did because I pursued a master's in international relations, which allowed me to study still global finance and how it could potentially have an enormous impact in the world. So, Geneva, as many of you may or may not know, is a hub for international organizations. But it's also a hub for asset managers, obviously, finance, wealth management, watches, chocolate. Um,
Things in life.
Exactly. But it made it a perfect location to find how you can blend finance. So the access to, capital, global capital, which is extremely needed for the UN SDGs or any impact we want to have in the world, and this, international causes. So for me, it was really important to find a cause that was important, and I don't know where this initially had started, but at the time when I came, it was really about emerging markets, so less developed markets, because Christina and myself, I'm from an immigrant family. There are many immigrant families in developed markets, and unfortunately, you're just born into where you're born into. So, how can we help these countries bring themselves up? Because they do have the potential to do that. So, out of university, I joined an impact investment firm, and for the last 5 years, I've been with them. It's been absolutely amazing. We've been investing debt capital into entrepreneurs that are growing. Fintech companies, other types of tech companies that are having massive impacts in these countries based on the needs of the people, growing the economies, and truly, when I've been traveling through these countries, you see the impact. But even though it was having this enormous impact, I felt that there was still a deeper impact to be had. Watching some of these entrepreneurs, seeing people going through struggles in their day-to-day life as a manager, as a founder, and especially in emerging markets where the tumultuous economy, the opportunity or not no opportunity to get capital, it makes it even more difficult. So for me, it was really about how can I support this entrepreneur to further believe in themselves, unlock all those limiting beliefs or fears that they might have so that they can level up and continue to build their company, their idea, and continue to have that impact and make it even bigger. So that's how I got to where I am today. Kind of a long story. It hasn't even got me all the way there, but here we
Wow.
are.
And what I hear from what you shared is yes, the medium may have been the finance, but really your focus has been the human at the center of all of this. And I know that it may sound obvious, but it's not. Because obviously, I'm a founder myself and a multi-founder, yeah, we somehow think that yeah, if we get the money, our problems will be solved. If we get this thing right, if we get the right studies, if we get the all of these structural, perhaps strategic, executional aspects of our businesses right, might work, right? And we strive for that, and these are the visible things. But actually, below all of that, exactly what you shared, what really cripples us most of the times are the things that we cannot put our finger on, which is the no passion really with well-being, which has been all along connecting throughout the years, I think the 13 years that you've been in the more traditional finance industry. And here I want to ask you what motivated you to deepen your commitment to this space? Because it wasn't an easy transition, I'm sure, but also it was very obvious to you why all of the other resources that we throw at people when we fail. And you committed really to make that the focus, the core focus of your work. So how did you choose in the end well-being, and how did you deepen your commitment to the space?
Yes, so I think like many of us, we all go through a period of either difficulty, whether it's mental health, emotional health, or physical health, or someone close to us, God forbid, knock on wood for any of you watching. But it's true that often it does come from a personal experience where you realize that, tomorrow isn't given. And when you're not doing well physically, emotionally, or mentally, nothing else in your life can thrive. It's not possible because you're so busy trying to fix what's wrong. So you're really just surviving. You really can't make it past the survival part of life. And for me, observing others while also going through my own health and seeing some of my family go through health issues, even in older age as well, my grandparents, you realize that to be able to contribute to the world, you need to be in a good health. You need to know how to lift yourself back up. You need to bring yourself back in balance when you fall out of it. And many of us have great ideas, but we don't know how to take care of ourselves. We're all pouring from an empty cup, and we hope that it's going to refill automatically, and it really is not. And um, having spent some of the last few years working also with female founders, you realize, or I've realized, the double burden that many of them face, having, first of all, a more difficult time becoming a founder, raising money, having access to capital, the kind of questions they're being asked by investors. And then on top of that, the additional burden of whether it's the questions of the family or, the secondary burden they place on themselves. Same with emerging markets entrepreneurs. Many of the founders that I've visited in, whether it's Nigeria or Kenya, when they start a business, it's many of their families asking and being in shock that they're giving up a potential position with real money, like access to capital right now in security, to take a risk because that's not something that their parents would have done or are used to seeing as an option. And that's putting their whole family at risk. And it's that double burden of, are you really going to do this to us? And unfortunately, when you hear and see that, you realize the mental health trauma that can put on you. So when I noticed this from really this type of mental health, emotional health, physical health burdens that we're all facing, I realized that actually the real need for people is to have a foundational access, whether it's a coach or a business advisor, um, that can help bring them back and lift them up and coach them through difficult times so that they can turn around and create what they're here to create and contribute what they're here to contribute. And that's really what inspired me and pushed me to kind of move into wellness as a coach, and partner that with business advisory because there are, of course, real needs between your business and your management team, but also just understanding that it starts with you.
Mhm. And that leads us beautifully to your own transition, because absolutely, we are not just monofaceted people. We have multiple facets, and mainly work and family are quite the most obvious and most respected in society and the most visible, perhaps. But we have individual needs as well, right? And for you, you've transitioned from an investment role into advisory and coaching, and now in a position to actually offer them all when they're needed, at the right time to the founder. What is the underlying thread that connects these phases of your journey then? What inspired this shift? So you told us about observing, of course, what's happening, but for you, what kind of motivated you to make that transition? Because technically, you could play that role from an investment role as well if you wanted to, but no, you don't want to do it as a side. You were like, no, I'm committed, changing it, I'm shifting. What is the underlying thread for you?
Great question. And I know we touched on it the other day. And I think that's where it kind of goes deeper into our subconscious and our conscious. And I think we don't often think about, science, neuroplasticity, and all of these things when we think about entrepreneurship or even our subconscious mind. But actually, 70 to 90% of what we and our habits do and our routines every single day is driven by our subconscious. And actually, most of what we do is driven by survival instincts. It's our subconscious brain trying to protect us from some future negative outcome. And especially based on what we have gone through, either in the recent past, if it was traumatic, or in our childhood. And for me, when I understood that we're all functioning from a place of limiting beliefs and fears, you realize that as soon as you change those and actually change your energy level, because no matter what, we all have an energy field, and people feel whether we're in fear or in worry, anxiety, or we're calm. When we change that, then other things will change outside of us, right? Like if you're a business owner with a fear or a worry of scarcity, you're constantly going to pull yourself into situations where scarcity will exist. So once you understand where you and your subconscious are in terms of the framework that you live your life, you'll be able to shift into a different perspective, whether it's just a mindset shift or really reprogramming your subconscious to see the world from a different perspective. And this is talked about in many different ways. It's talked about by Carol Dweck in the growth mindset versus a fixed mindset, but really it goes much deeper than that. It's in a subconscious layer of our brain that really is functioning for us as our decision maker. And that's why it's so important to for me to have, the position as a coach to help people uncover this and change it so that they can really reach anywhere they want and live their potential without limits.
And what you're making me aware of right now is that everything, even in our business, which we think, yeah, it's just timing, it's luck, it's the time you're launching your business, the perhaps the ecosystem, the country, right? And as you said, I am also an immigrant here in the UK. Um, the opportunities I had here were immense compared to, but also so many people back home have made it to the globe. And I wonder sometimes the differences of people who are making it, even if they didn't have the perfect conditions and so on. You're absolutely right. It all starts here, and that creates emotion, that creates actions and behaviors. And the more we work on ourselves, the more we realize it on others. But it's pretty much impossible, to make somebody who's unconscious of their patterns and their habits aware that this is running on subconscious and it's reality for them, really, isn't it? Um, and hence how relative reality for
Exactly.
the same environment and so the same circumstances. How exciting. Um, Thank you for sharing what really the thread was for you and how you uncovered it for you. And when you realized the power, how you wanted to bring that value to others by supporting them to do the inner work, not just the superficial, external, tangible work that we talked about. I know from our previous chats also that spirituality is an important part of who you are and how you do things. So, question has to come your way on how has spirituality impacted your personal evolution and this transition from a professional to launching your own mission-driven business, which is quite, a big change, from security to actually taking your own advice and your own, support to be able to bring your business to the fourth and go through the same journey that you've been nurturing for so long in the previous 13 years.
Well, exactly as you said, and kind of gave a nice summary before. You can tell that I'm into, energy and understanding the deeper parts of ourself, which to me is essentially access to our spirituality. So for many of us, we're disconnected to our bodies, and our body is our first access point to our spiritual center, because it really connects everything, both our organs, our mind, our heart, and our body is absolutely magical. Even scientists don't know how some things work, how we repair ourselves, how our brain works. And if we are disconnected with our body, we're essentially disconnected to our spirituality. And even if you go to church, I fully believe that if you're disconnected to your body, you cannot be connected to the greater world or the universe. So, this is also where wellness is a huge part of the kind of string that goes through this. Because for me, the last since I was probably 15, I began doing physical fitness and health and related practices. And even when I was disconnected with my body, having these practices allowed me to reconnect on a regular basis. And each year, I mean, as we all know, we evolve and our understanding of ourselves deepens. That grows, and you actually connect to, or I've actually connected to, what I feel is something within me, but also outside of me, almost like a higher self, but also even something sillier. Somebody would say it's sillier, but it's like your inner child and your higher self have met, and it's like the perfect you in between, not the one that you judge, but the one that's, really perfect because you're unique and that's what makes you special. And connecting with this individual has allowed me to understand what truly drives me, right? My living your why, understanding my why. And I think for me, it's always been to make an impact, to have a ripple effect, but it still has to be done within a framework of having fun, enjoying life, because that's what our inner child wants, right? And then your higher self is someone who wants to live your full potential and have the most, or my higher self would like me to have the most possible channels of impact that I can. And that's what I realized, and that's how I had to change where I was, despite loving my job, loving my team, having the opportunity to support entrepreneurs financially and give them access to funds when they did not have any, to be able to grow their business and have, outsized impacts in their community. But within, I felt a dissonance, and it meant that I was no longer in the right place. And being connected to that within has allowed me to grow and understand when it's time to shift, when it's time to evolve, when it's time to push ourselves to our limit, right? Because we're all happy in our comfort zone, but unhappy at the same time, right? So we're in this place of needing to find that next thing for ourselves. And I think that's where our, really living your why comes from, a deep, deep question to you of what makes you happy? What drives you? When do you feel alive? And then following that trail and following it for the rest of your life. And so that's really how it's connecting to myself, whether it's through meditation, physical fitness, self-care practices, has allowed me to understand when I'm in that dissonance and then seek out that next step.
Yeah. And thank you for giving such a simple and beautiful definition of spirituality, but also how you experience it. Because there's a lot of words out there, a lot of, you know, pressure almost now to be spiritual as well. And, some of them is like, oh my God, this has become such a industry in itself, when it's really as simple as you described it. It's about coming back in and saying, am I aligned with my why? And, what does that require me to do to be in alignment with my why? And for you, was I have to take that risk. I have to be outside of my comfort zone. Where could I be in order to be able to feel alive again, happy?
Exactly. Exactly.
Absolutely resonate to that. And joy is not something that is denied to us; it's actually given to us. It's within us if we access it. Um, Thank you for
Definitely.
beautifully landing this, and how it allowed you to land your mission-driven business. What are you working on right now? Because I know you're preparing something really special and unique around the world, and starting, of course, in Geneva. So what's coming up? Because I know you're empowering still entrepreneurs and high achievers. to enable them to create a sustainable, meaningful impact in our world. And you're channeling that energy through collaborators, but also through your, personal expression.
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, I'm still focused on having two channels of creating impact. From my experience, I know that it's important to target really the within, so the internal, and that's where the coaching practice comes in. And this is going to be potentially including like a larger incubator to actually include values-based businesses and have you transition to understanding how your internal creates your external and your business can thrive throughout, changing those things. So that's aspect number one. So really like this coaching practice that can have an impact on entrepreneurs around the world. I've worked with founders in small businesses, large businesses, entrepreneurs, intrapreneurs within companies as well. But then also on the physical side, myself as well as two partners are creating a new concept, a wellness center in Geneva. I won't give too much away. You'll have to follow me on LinkedIn, follow me on Instagram, and check out my blog. But it is a physical center where you can access tools, impact tools. First of all, it's going to be longevity, self care, nutrition, because these are all critically important for people who, first of all, want to have an ability to live their highest potential. When you take care of your body through food, because food could be your medicine, through physical fitness, you're choosing yourself, and that's connecting to your body. So again, connecting to yourself is essentially a channel to create alignment in your life. So this access point is really a physical center in Geneva. We'll also have state-of-the-art longevity machines, which I think are very important for anyone in today's day, living in a city, living in the country. I mean, we're all faced with so many inflammatory things, stress, burnout being the biggest inflammatory thing that we're facing on a regular basis. Worry, negative thought patterns, these live in our stomach. And the only way we can heal those things while the deeper work is really important, you do need the physical scientific machines that can actually help to heal that. So it's really every choice you make is a choice for the future you. What are you investing in? So it's still finance, right? Like, are you investing in um, the future you that's successful and healthy, or are you investing in the future you that may be getting sick because you're worrying, because you're not choosing the right foods or friends or content, right? Like media. So it's really about finding a place, a hub that can give you all the tools to be healthy. And it's going to be like a club, like a place where people can go and feel like they have a community that are all focused on living their potential, striving for excellence and bettering themselves throughout the process. So I can't give too much away. We'll have the launch coming up next week, so you'll get to see it all. I mean the campaign launch, but if you're passing Geneva, please send me a message, anyone, because we want to, let you try it for yourself. But again, there's so many ways to help you live your potential, and it starts from within, but it also starts from without, right? Like the external and the internal have to work simultaneously.
Yeah. And I love what you're mentioning here because you're not just doing part of the work, you're collaborating with other amazing people within the industry and linking it back to your understanding of finance and actually putting value against business ideas but also business practices in this case and resources. um, and what I hear is that you can have the best idea, as you said, in the world, that has potential, but if you don't have the energy or the systems in place and the consistency to be able to maintain that cadence as a founder, first of all, let alone founders create culture. Let's be honest. From a coaching point of view alone, let alone if you're not healthy and able to maintain and sustain and expand that capacity within us, how can I ever be able to resonate and pass on the torch, let alone create impact within our lifetime? And I think it's an irony that we all come and segregate, in bigger cities, metropolis, in order to be able to have access to opportunity. But what we forget is the cost to our health. And probably 50 years ago, that wouldn't be the case because I guess life rhythms were a bit slower. But today, if we don't actively protect that connection within, how are we ever going to, you know, everything pretty much asks for our attention, right? And being able to do the inner work and also physical work too, because we need to see it. It's not just doing work. We need to be able to witness it and working together with others. And actually, your idea about creating something like an incubator, an accelerator that takes care of that side, not just the physical production of a business, of an idea, of a team, of skills, hardcore or soft skills, is so important. And coming a little bit from my side background as well, I can definitely resonate with that. Wow, I'm really excited, and now I have more reasons to come to Geneva to say hi. And for everyone who's watching, we will share Ekatherina's blog, but also Instagram handle, her LinkedIn contact. But also, you will be able to, if you are here today on our live with us, you'll be able to claim your free consultation with Ekatherina to discuss your big ideas, but also how you want to transform your inner world to be able to support you on what you're creating to the physical world. And may I say that, you know, in case anyone thinks that Katharina's transition was such a natural, flowing, easy transformation, she's laughing at me. I'm sure I can assure you, as a career purpose coach, I have never seen a transition that has been easy, or at least, let's say, without the drama, the personal drama that we need to go through to be able to come to the other side clean, right? Because we are unlearning habits, generational habits of not taking care of ourselves. Given that share, can you walk us, Ekaterina, through how you live your why? And as you said, you're not there yet. You haven't completed your journey in this lifetime, but you're on the way. And maybe after a few years, it will transpire that you will have to make a different career shift or a different move in order to be able to be more in alignment with yourself. So, how are you at the moment, at least, perceiving that path? And how are you aligning continuously with your why, no matter where you are in your journey? You're not a complete piece of work, you're work in progress. And, we really want to hear from you how you are experiencing that slow but steady alignment. It takes a lifetime.
It definitely takes a lifetime. I completely agree. And well, for me, living your why, first of all, starts with understanding your why. I don't think many of us ask ourselves the question why to ourselves personally enough. And I think that's where we all start, and that's where I started a few years ago. But again, even every year, every few months, every quarter, depends on how you look at it, having moments of self-reflection to get to that why again. Um, because often, because of the day to day, we really are forgetting what's driving us forward. And then asking yourself, what can you do today and every day to actually feel that feeling that makes you feel alive because you are living your why? And I think most of us are expecting, some sort of consequence or outcome when we live our why, right? We all have this number in our head or exactly fame or, the perfect body, perfect this, perfect children, perfect family. But it's actually a feeling inside that we're seeking. And if we can reconnect with that feeling more often, because that's really what living your why means. That satisfaction and fulfillment inside because you're doing something that really feels so good because it's only for you and just for you. Um, then that will never dim. And when it dims, it will be easily kind of found again. And so for me, it's really every day having time to reflect on whether it is the right thing that I'm doing. And I think for some people, it can be hard to do this on a regular basis. So, maybe every day doesn't work for you, but my really big, suggestion and advice for anyone is to implement something like this regularly, because I think the biggest fear for anyone is spending 10 years doing something, waking up one day and being like, I don't love this. I don't know what I've been doing. And if you're not checking in with yourself regularly, once a year is already okay, but I think you could do more often. But once a year, really a deep, deep check in where you ask yourself, have you lived your deep why? Right? And it might not be something that you can access at your job. But if it's not at your job, then you should find a way to do it on a regular basis, because it will uncover that light within you. And we all want to live by that light and allow that light to guide our way, right? Because that light, your uniqueness, is what will create a legacy for you in this lifetime. And it's a very special legacy because it's linked to you and your unique energy and persona and creativity and everything. So I think again that why for me is uncovering, for me personally, it's uncovering and being that visionary to help other people's visions come to life through health, through inner work, through self development, and then through tools that are related to business as well. And I think that helping people live through their own visions and ideas to change the world is going to change the world. So that drives me. And I hope that I can continue to do that until the moment that it's no longer my why and then I shift to something else. And then I'll continue making sure my light is shining and I'll make a difference, hopefully, like that.
Thank you. Thank you for mentioning this, because it's so simple. And I think for anyone who's watching, it's so simple yet so dismissed, because it sounds so insignificant in the grand scheme of things, that it should be this massive thing about living my why has to be, I'm demonstrating, that what you said is a tempting outcome that I want to see, perhaps show the world, because success, at least how we're being served it, from our media is, you need to be multi-million, this, that, and so on. But actually, exactly on the nuance that Ekatherina brought to our attention, it might be actually the how I feel within. And you could be anywhere doing this thing. You could be in your current job, you could be in, stuck at home studying as a student, or being part of a community but not necessarily having a job or a career to show for it. But actually, as long as you are being guided by that light, it won't really make you feel empty on the inside, because wherever you are, you're doing what you need to do. And Katharina, I think that's such a wonderful and important reflection in December, especially end of the year of 2024, may we say, for people to come back and reflect for maybe a daily minute of how close am I to my light, is such an important one. And thank you for just showing us that it's not rocket science. It's really accessible. It's within, it's here, and it whispers when we're willing to listen. Um, so, if you loved what Ekaterina shared with us today, and also if you've got any questions, now is the time to share them on the comments, and hopefully we will be able to pick them up. If not, Ekaterina and I will make sure you get your answers. Don't hesitate to connect with Ekaterina and reach out to ask any questions you may have from what she shared. She also has very kindly offered for a free consultation for those of you who tuned in to attend our live, and make sure you claim it. She's amazing, as you can see. And I will be putting on the details, of course, of connecting with her on the comments across all channels shortly. Unless there's any questions coming up from anyone, Ekaterina, I would like to thank you once more for joining us today and sharing with us the culmination of your wisdom as well as experience from more traditional, finance and investment roles, to breathing, a really meaningful transition into well-being, with us today, and how you took the threads that were necessary and how you channeled them to be able to maximize your impact and amplify it globally, and the mediums you choose. I think it was such a beautiful recognition that we never leave anything behind. We can take everything that we have achieved and really repurpose it to a more meaningful direction. But also, if we're impact driven, how we can, never lose the light that guides us, and how we measure our life is the most important measure that will ever matter to us, not how the external world would like to perhaps mold us into roles and hierarchies that perhaps are not relevant anymore. Um,
So
any
beautifully said, Christina. And I wanted to just say thanks to you because I know you bring out eudaimonia and also the light in so many people just by, watching some of your show and just from our first conversation. It's such a special thing to feel that you're basking in someone's light that also turns that light on within you. So thank you.
very much for everything you shared with us today and for leading the way of making your own transition. It's so easy to kind of sit on the sidelines, right? And, help others because it makes us feel good, but actually exposing yourself very vulnerably, but also very courageously being in the arena, being there where the mud and sweat and blood is actually being, shared and splattered, and actually doing it on the ground with people that you care truly about, being on the front line, it's truly amazing. And it really was very important for me to share this. So when I reached out to you, I didn't quite know that you were going through the transition, but and actually we exchanged a couple of emails with Ekatherina, and a few months later she's like, "Yeah, I've done it. I'm here. I'm doing it." Which is beautiful. What we thought we were going to discuss completely changed into what it is today, and how beautifully you have, landed it. So thank you, and it's very relevant to you, Maria. Why not the two?
Exactly. Exactly. We
Already.
had an alignment.
Thank you. So, guys, if you are having any comments, do put them on the comments on the channels of the podcast below. We will attend to it. But if nothing else comes up while we're live, we would love to wish everyone a beautiful festive time, a happy new year. Do link up with Ekaterina, ask her your questions privately, and you are in good hands. Fully trust her work, and I've been connecting more and more in the last few weeks with her. Her work is transformational at all levels, not just well-being, physical, mental, emotional, financial, but also spiritual. It's very rare to find fantastic practitioners out there. So, yeah, what a joy to have a beautiful evening
Thank you so much.
after this live as well. Usual.
Hope you have a lovely evening as well and wishing you a magical holiday season.
Thank you. Take good care, my dear.
Thanks. See you.
Bye bye.